Okay, everyone, we are live. Hello, everyone. This is Misha Houston, and welcome to my channel. This week, we're going to be doing the book club, Eddard 10. Thank you so much for migrating with us. We've had a few issues, but we managed to resolve them, and we're going to be on my channel for a little while. Thank you all so much to my people in the chat: Bubba Husky, Mackenzie, Johnny B. Crazy, Eduardo Blanco. Thank you all so much for joining us tonight. We are going to be doing the Eddard chapter. It's a very, very interesting chapter. It delves deeply into the past, and we get to see a little bit of Eddard's backstory and how he came to be the person that he is today. And it's a very interesting. It's kind of a short chapter. It's not one of his long chapters, but it is very, very good indeed. I want to give a shout out to all my wonderful panelists who's managed to join us tonight. Seeing as I don't know who would like to introduce themselves first, but please go right ahead.
Marie, guess first.
Yes, Marie, go ahead and introduce yourself, please.
Hey everyone, you all know me. Great to be here. Thank you, ladies, for asking me to be a guest on this really big chapter, The Terror of Joy. It's one of my favourites, so I just can't wait to get into it and join you lovely ladies. And hello to everyone in chat. I'll let the host call out your names.
Yes. Yes, Marie is our guest tonight, our special guest tonight. Thank you so much, Marie, for joining us tonight. Jennifer, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hey, everybody. It's Jen here from Lady Wolverton's Den. Like Misha said, we're going to be doing book club on her channel for a while. Thank you so much. And thank you, Marie, Elamar, Sarah, for just being here, and everybody in the chat. That's all I have.
Sarah.
Hi. Thank you for having me. I look forward to this every week. And yeah, this is a big chapter. I got dressed for it. So Eddard 10, let's go.
That sounded so funny. You got dressed for it. If I have you on my channel,
I wasn't
are you
dressed.
not going to be dressed if I have you on my channel?
For the next, yeah.
No, sorry. It's just me in my mind.
No, this is my Night of the Laughing Tree shirt, and it's my Liana Blue Roses, and I'm going to mute myself now. And Elamar, let you introduce yourself.
I guess I kind of did it with that weird comment. Well, Misha, thank you for having me. This is such a joy. I think this is the first time on your channel. It's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it. I'm chatting in comments. I'm so addicted. So I'm like in the comments right now. So if I'm quiet, just somebody say, hey, you say something. Look smart. So I'm looking forward to this chat. Is going to be awesome. Yeah. Marie and ladies have some stuff really nicely prepared, and I'm just going to try to pretend that I'm smart here, and I'm going to look very...
She's not going to need to pretend. She's not going to pretend. We've all had really long... We were just talking before we went live. We've all had like really kind of grouchy days. So hopefully this turns it all around.
This is all fun because it's all friends. So thank you again, and you're blessed.
Yeah, let's have a great chat. And with that, I'll start the overview. But first... big shout out to somebody we all know and love in the community, Pete Easy, Pete Sayal Jr. Happy birthday to you, buddy.
Happy birthday, Pete.
Happy birthday to you. All righty. So what we've got here is, of course, last chapter, Ned was injured by Jaime Lannister. And Ned, the open of the chapter is Ned having an old dream. 3 knights in white cloaks in a tower long fallen, and Lyanna in her bed of blood. In his dream, his friends rode with him as they had in life. Proud Martin Cassell, Jory's father. Faithful Leo Wool, Brandon's squire. Sir Mark Risewell, soft of speech and gentle of heart. The Crannig man, Howland Reed. Lord Dustin on his great red stallion. Ned had known their faces as well as he had known his own once, but... the years leach at a man's memories. even those he vowed not to forget. In the dream, they were only shadows, gray wraiths on horses made of mist. 7 facing 3. In the dream, as it had been in life, yet these were no ordinary 3. They waited before the round tower, the red mountains of Dorne at their backs, their white cloaks. Okay, so we've got Ned, and he's having a fever dream. Not only has he had milk of the poppy, his leg has been shattered. He's having a fever dream, but admittedly, he's had it before, but admittedly, his memories are not as good as they once had been. When he wakes up from the dream, the first thing he thinks to do is to call his captain of the guard, and he almost says Jory, and then stops himself, and Alan comes. First thing he does is ask about his daughters, and then he asks about Jaime Lannister, and then he learns that the king, Robert, has said to summon him as soon as he wakes, this is one of the only times I really feel like we see Ned like seriously perturbed, and he says so to himself. And so he says, look, I'm really not strong enough. I don't feel good enough, but he is more than welcome to wait on me here. So also he's assured that his daughters are safe. And the man swears that on his life, which is not, obviously we learn later, wasn't a very safe bet. But he goes before Robert and Cersei, and Robert's first words is, I'm not pleased. And then Cersei breaks in about, how dare you lay hands on my blood? What gives you the right? And of course, in this chapter, we get the Tower of Joy, but we also get a lot of dialogue that really shows us just how horrible a relationship Cersei and Robert have. I mean, it's almost like Robert is just getting by through life, just basically just drinking and whoring and hunting his days away because he's so unhappy. And I think also we see Ned has quite a bit of PTSD from that war. And then at the very end, after they have, quite a bit of an argument and everything, because I'm going to keep this short and sweet, Robert gives him back the hands pin and says, if you quit again, because Ned has they've kind of started this dance where Ned quits when he's unhappy, and then Robert comes begging him back. So Robert says, if you quit on me again, I'm going to pin the damn thing on Jaime Lannister. And with that, I will let Marie take over because she's the guest and she has made a lot of notes for this tonight.
Oh, I might have made some notes, but I don't know if they're going to make sense.
No pressure, Marie.
Yes, thanks, Jen. And that was a good overview too. Thanks very much. I'm going to start with, he dreamt an old dream of 3 knights in white cloaks and a tower long fallen and Lyanna in her bed of blood. Now, what I noted here was the King's Guard wear white cloaks. I think there's an emphasis on the white. Their white cloaks are mentioned twice in a few paragraphs. Is because the 3 Kings Guard honour is unbesmirched, even though the wind is blowing. Now, I imagine Dawn to be a red, dusty, hot place. So even though the wind has been blowing, their cloaks are white, seem to be whiter than white to Ned in his memory.
That is interesting how they could be in the desert with those like starch white cloaks. But one thing I will say about this chapter is I don't know that we can take everything that Ned is describing in his dream, or that's being described in the dream, as that quite literally happened.
I agree, because he says so, that his memories have been sucked out of him over the years.
So maybe they weren't in real life. Maybe they were dirty in real life, is what I'm saying.
And plus, he's been given milk of the poppy. And we all know how drugs and certain things like that can affect the mind. So that's a very good point that I didn't catch when I first read it. We can't really trust what's going on in his head. I mean, and to me,
that's what I meant, is metaphorically, because he sees the cloaks as white, but Dawn is a red, dusty place.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Bone Way.
I mean, it's a lot of distrust going on within Ned. You know, he can't trust himself. He can't trust his memories. He can't trust the people around him. He can't trust Robert anymore. He can't trust his own senses right now because he's on Milk of the Poppy, and we all know the kind of person that Pycelle is. Pycelle is a very duplicitous old man. They really showed that in the show, how he pretends to walk, you know, with infirmity, pretends that he's this weak old man, but apparently he can stand up straight. That was in the last episode of the first season. And I think he's just as duplicitous and just as deceitful in the books as he is in the show. And I wouldn't trust, you know, anything that he offered, especially a potent medication such as Milk of the Poppy. So there's a lot of mistrust that I picked up on, you know, in the chapter. Excuse me, Marie, but I was just wanted to make that point. Go ahead, Marie. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. No.
I wanted to add some. Thank you. I'm like sitting here commenting. I forgot I'm on camera. So I'm just chatting away. But I was wondering. So Pycelle, right? Like you, is like the slimiest thing over there that is right now.
Indeed.
In that chapter. Yikes! The images. Even for me, yikes. So what do you think about him actually? Like, what is stopping him from killing people? Like in general, like what do you think? Would he put anything in Ned's medicine to make him kind of not right in his head? I mean, it's not. I don't think it's. Like, I feel that Ned is not all there, and I'm wondering why. Besides all the stuff that you mentioned, ladies, I wonder if he might have put anything in there. Just a thought, like, too, you know, because maesters, they are truly behind. They can be behind anything and everything, so they have all the power. They can cure, they can kill, and nobody will even be the wiser. I wonder, like, if there's anything that he would be causing, or that he would be causing Ned to be kind of off his game. Just a thought.
It's a good thought, but I honestly don't think he has to, you know, because, you know, when you have infection like that, and, you know, I think he probably has fever and is probably just out his head, so to speak, anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't put it past him. And certainly Barbary Dustin thinks they do stuff like that.
I mean, they keep all the knowledge. They are the people who teach children, I guess, like not children, you know, the lords.
They have all the cool jobs. Yeah, no, they have all the intellectual cool jobs, teaching, healing.
Yeah, they have all the power. Anyway, just my thought, like, because he's so deceiving, and he's, you know, hunched over, and then I wonder, like, what else he has up his sleeve. Hopefully,
I think he probably has done something like that before, but I don't think he needs to in this case.
It's called John Aaron. That's what happened.
Yeah. Okay. I don't think he didn't poison John Aaron, but I certainly don't think he did everything he could to save him.
He admits to Tyrion that he let him die because Cersei wanted him to. But that's not in this chapter. Sorry, Marie.
It's okay. So yeah, just my kind of, you know, me trying to like, oh, I know things, which I don't. But go ahead, Marie.
Oh, sorry. Just the next point here. I've got one thing I picked up in the chapter 2 is a tower long fallen. Was the Tower of Joy kind of livable ruin? But why would Rhaegar take Lyanna to a ruin?
Well, I think it's long fallen because he and whoever else was with them tore it apart.
No, it's before they tore it down. They tear it down after.
Oh, so they took it to a ruin.
Instead of taking her to this, because he has all the money anybody could want. Why is he taking her to this decrepit-looking place? You mean? Yeah, exactly.
And it says in the chapter, a tower long fallen. I'm thinking, so was it kind of like half in ruins before he took there? And when you go on to that, I'm thinking, was that kind of like a stopgap? Except she started to feel like, were they somewhere else, and they were on their way to something, and they just called in at the Tower of Joy.
They stopped at the tower to have the baby.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I never thought about that.
Or maybe they were hiding away because I would expect her to be in some awesome place. Maybe they were looking for them. Maybe they were having spies look for her. You know, where could she be? And nobody would ever think that she would be in a tower. Like, I wouldn't be.
Well, and Sir Arthur Dayne is Dornish, so theoretically, he's got people down there that could have housed them and helped deliver the baby. Yeah, I don't know why they're. I don't know if we're ever going to find out that.
So I just found that a little bit mysterious in that it says a tower long fallen, and I'm thinking, well, it sounds like it's already a ruined tower, which can explain a little bit how Ned can kind of tear it down.
Connie has a good point. That's interesting, Marie. I never thought. I always figured it was just like a fever dream exaggeration as to why he was able to pull it down with his hands. But Connie Super says, as close as he can get to Summerhall. You know, Rhaegar loves his prophecies. He's probably like, let's go do it in some ruined tower. Yeah. Anyway. What else, Marie? I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is it all fine to me? And then I said, in my next one, Ned sees his companions at the towers. I found this really, really odd, as only shadows, grey wraiths on horses made of mist. But a few paragraphs later, these were no shadows, their faces burned clear even now. He sees the Kingsguard faces, he can describe them clearly in his memories, but when it comes to his own Northmen, they're kind of shadowy and in the mist. And I'm kind of wondering, is that a guilty conscience that because he's dreaming in hindsight. So there's a lot of guilt in Ned's dream because it's a hindsight dream, and he knows now why Lyanna was in that tower. He knows that it's all a lie. As Bran said in the show, Robert's rebellion was based on a lie. So Ned knows that once he gets to Lyanna. So I'm just wondering, why is he seeing his own Northmen as shadows and wraiths? And he sees the Kingsguard as kind of like burned in his memory.
Well, I mean, they're all dead now, right? I assume that nearly everyone is dead except for Howland Reed. Howland Reed.
So I think I have pulled up the people that were there. Let me see. All right, we've got Sir Gerald Hightower, Oswell Went,
and Arthur Dane.
No, Arthur Dane, yes, but I like the Northerners. Here we go. We've got Martin Cassell, which was Jory's dad, right?
Grandfather.
Yes.
And Sir Roderick's brother. We've got Theo Wool, which I love. Big Bucket Wool. I love that man. I'm going to bathe in Bolton blood. I think what I like about, I'm sorry, I need to shut my alerts off. I love that the Tower of Joy sort of is something that this is relevant in Dance with Dragons. This is the first book, and all this stuff is relevant in the fifth book. We've got a Wool, we've got Ethan Glover, we've got Sir Mark Ryswell, a knight of House Ryswell. They live in the Rills section of the North. Oh, they say something about him being really nice, and I just feel so bad for Barbary Dustin because it's like that was her man, you know. And then Howland Reed, obviously, and Sir William Dustin, Lord of Barrington. Oh no, he was the one who was married to Barbary Ryswell. Right, I'm so sorry. Right. So her brother and her dad died. Yeah, no wonder her brother and her husband died. No wonder she's so pissed. Yeah, they. Okay, yeah, those are the Northerners that were there.
Yeah, and don't you think it's funny that one of the Northerners was a squire, and you're taking these guys to meet the greatest fighters in the Kingsguard, especially Sir Arthur Dane?
I found
it to be odd.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a timeline in front of me, but I mean, I feel like there were so many things that happened in Robert's Rebellion that it's like, who's even around at that point? Ned had already lifted the siege at Storm's End. Rhaegar's dead. Well, I mean, there's a lot of things that have already happened. So it's like his loyalist people are probably picked pretty thin. Yeah.
Another name that stands out, which you already mentioned, Sarah, was Theo Wool.
Yes.
Theo Wool is a wildling. A wildling, you know, that is south of the Wall. So the fact that Ned managed to get these proud lords and the wildlings together.
So
it's very telling, you know.
Is he a wildling? Is he a mountain clan? I thought he was a mountain clan guy.
Well, I mean, like he's of the clansmen, of course.
Sure.
But
well, and you know the clansmen are in business with the wildlings. Like there's probably not that much of a distinction. But yeah, no, he's got his northern clansmen. I'm looking at a picture of a cartoon picture of him right now, and that's not a guy you'd bring to court.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, as I said before, he's of the mountain clans, of course, but the people of the mountain clans are pretty much seen as wildlings. But he managed to bring them together, which is a good nod to John, bringing the wildlings, together, trying to get them south of the wall, trying to bring them together to work together to get them.
That man is so hot. If he's somebody who's like a winter, like we say, oh, you sweet summer child. If that's a winter man and he's in Dorne, that man is so hot right now. So Marie, when you said you had an overview and details and I said I'm just going to bust in with random comments, that's what I meant. Sorry.
No, that's okay. And also to me, the one that really stands out is the presence of the Lord Commander, who should really be beside the king and not beside Rhaegar.
It's the Lord Commander was Sir Gerald Hightower.
Hightower, yep.
Yeah. Went supposedly helped conspire with Rhaegar to have host the tourney in Harrenhal to overthrow Aerys. So I sort of wonder how many of the Kingsguard were sort of like, yeah, we've seen this guy light people on fire, rape his wife, all these horrible things, and we think Rhaegar is a better choice, so we're going to go along with Rhaegar's plan. Yeah, why they're not with the king is a great question. And I think it's because Rhaegar told them to guard the next king, which was baby Jon Snow.
Yeah, and also, sorry, Jen, you go, because you haven't said much.
All I was going to say was I think it boils back down to before the war when Rhaegar had to split from Jaime. And he said to him, look, I know shit's fucked up, but we're going to talk when I get back. And of course we know that talk never happened. So don't put off for tomorrow what you can do today. Well, you definitely learned that from this. And I just also want to say hey to Johnny Indie Boots is in the chat. He has a really good channel. Click his icon and subscribe. JD Streams, click his icon and subscribe. And Alicia Kingston as well. You guys hit their icons and subscribe to their channels if you would. And that's all I had to say is there's an undercurrent that shit is not right, and I think there was already kind of some fractions going on. And yeah, I think that's what they've basically decided to do is to put their weight behind Rhaegar.
And just to add something to that, if I could, you mentioned, I'm sorry, Marie, I cut you off a little bit. But to add to it, all the broken promises over there. Like, I don't know if you probably noticed, everybody says, oh, I promise.
Yeah. No, my Promise Me Ned shirt, I can't find it
all
anywhere.
The promises.
But yeah,
everybody,
Promise Me Ned.
I promise you I'll keep you safe. I promise this. I'm like, oh my God, just like words at some point somewhere.
Well, and I'm sorry to skip around, but later in the chapter, Robert says, I trust you know what your wife has done, is seized the imp, and without a thought
he takes blame.
He says, oh, she did that on my command. And it's like,
liar.
He's just picking up, he's like, what? Oh, I mean, that's great. He honors the women in his life.
And that's another thing we see though, is Ned takes up for his lady without a thought.
And whereas Robert will slap his in the face, Robert's
definite contrast here.
She did that because I told her to. It was a terrible idea. I agree. It was all my idea.
So you've got to think too that this is a younger Ned. I remember, when they showed the Tower of Joy scene on TV, and there was a whole big brouhaha in Reddit, and people were saying what a hypocrite Ned was because Helen stabbed Arthur Dane in the back. And I said, you've got to understand that this is a younger Ned whose only thought was to get to his sister as quickly as possible. And he's probably disappointed that all these wonderful Kingsguard who he admired, especially Arthur Dane, were there helping Rhaegar kidnap his sister, because at that time he believed Lyanna was kidnapped. So his thought is to get to Lyanna ASAP.
I'm taking us off track here, but again, that's what's fun about this. Why did they have to fight? Why did they have to kill each other? Like, did they think that Lyanna's sister, is really going to kill Lyanna's Targaryen baby? Did they really think that? Why did they have to fight to the death?
Maybe the truth, just have to hide the truth from him.
Work something out. Yeah, maybe they just were committing suicide.
I thought about this a lot in my head, you guys, because it seems like if they would have just said, if he'd have just been like, look, yo, that's like, my sister.
Talk this through. Like,
right. Because it seems like Ned had much respect for those 3 Kingsguard. And like you said, regrets that, you know, at the end of this, we know that, you know, only 2 people walk away. Or actually, we don't necessarily know that for sure. It will maybe touch on that a little bit about the theories out there that there are some of these Kingsguards still alive. But yeah, I think you have to go back. And also, it kind of, for some reason, this chapter keeps bringing me back to what Rhaegar told Jaime. And also Jaime being so righteously indignant. By what right does the wolf question the lion? By what right does the wolf question Arthur Dayne? Maybe that's where that's the only really plausible explanation that I can come down to, is that they viewed him solely as a traitor who fought against the anointed king, and that they were thinking, you know, we don't owe him any explanations. He's a traitor already, as far as Ned goes.
Yes, I think in Ned's mind, yeah, to him, I think he's trying to understand how they could have done such a thing, because especially Arthur Dayne would have been a huge figure of honour. I mean, he is the sword of the morning.
And vice versa. Both of them think they're in the right.
Yeah.
And here, Mackenzie has a good point here. She says maybe they wouldn't believe him, even though he's a highborn. So the secret has to stay hidden, no matter, like, by all cost.
That's an interesting point. So the 2 Kingsguard that survived, Jaime and Barris and Selmy, were pardoned by Robert and then went to go on to work for Robert. And maybe those 3 were the most loyal. The Hightower, and who's the third one? I forget. Arthur Dayne. Okay. So yeah, Dayne, Hightower, and Went we're just so loyal to Robert that me.
Sarah, you're muted.
Misha, what do you think?
I got muted because my mom called me. I'm sorry. I changed my setup and I'm doing this on my phone. And so my mom called me. Misha, I'm so sorry. There are 3 that were at the Tower of Joy are the most loyal. So it's like, it's sort of fitting that they would die on their swords, is my point. What are they going to do? Get pardoned and work for Robert? Like Selmy and Jaime? I don't know. It doesn't seem right. And now I'm going to mute myself on purpose.
I kind of agree with Sarah, how silly it was. That was her brother. I mean, what did they expect for Eddard to do? Just say, hey, just take my sister and do whatever you want with her, keep her in this ruined tower, not give her back to her family. I mean, I just thought it was just ridiculous that they, excuse me, that they had to fight, that this had to be a fight. If it were me, I would have just stepped aside. It's your sister, Rhaegar is dead, go get her and take her home. But, you know, I mean, maybe it's a male thing. You know, men have to stand up and, you know, be the strongest and so on and so forth. But if it were me, I wouldn't have even raised my sword. As soon as Ned walked up, wanting to know where his sister was, I would have said, she's right there in that tower. Go get her. My prince is dead. I have no allegiance to House Targaryen anymore. I mean, they're all dead. I'm going to do my own thing. Take your sister and take her back home. Take her back home and get her some help if she needs it. I just wouldn't. I thought it was silly for them to fight it out like that. And plus, these Kingsguard were like 3 against 7. Why would you just knowingly throw your life away like that?
Is it honor? Is it strange honor that they have?
I was gonna say, I just think it's just honor. I mean, that's what I would guess. It sort of highlights the silliness of all these. Maybe it's because I don't have principles. No, I feel like I do, but I mean, I feel like staying alive should be a good principle to have.
But I mean, as as Sarah said, and as I said, I would have just stepped aside, take your sister and go home.
And change his name.
Just go on, do what you got to do, and take her home.
So I wonder what their plans were. Let's say if Ned hadn't shown up,
what are they going to do? Like, what are they going to do? Like, and can we also just quickly talk? There had to have been other people there. They say that's where they found him, right, Marie? I'm sorry, am I skipping way ahead? But there's at least another person there on the show. We saw some woman, presumably some sort of midwife, perhaps a wet nurse, but usually wet nurses have other babies. What were they going to do? What were they going to do with a baby in the middle of the boneway?
Well, I should think there'd be more people too, because there'd have to be a cook, a cleaner. I mean, it's just when you're royal, you travel with a entourage.
Yeah. Well, Liana is so low maintenance, you know.
I'm sorry. Okay, that's really good. But he would go with an entourage of because he wouldn't even make his own bed. So I should imagine there'd be a cook, someone to clean after him, someone to help him dress. Like he's got must have his own squire, surely.
Yeah. What are they eating? Where are they? What's happening? Why are they in the middle of the? Yeah.
Where's their sunscreen?
Where's their sunscreen? Where's their?
And I know, because I had that. I'm fine now. I'm a White Walker again.
Cardinal Doomsday in the chat says the Kingsguard are meant to be Klingon warriors. Today is a good day to die and all that fun stuff. Johnny Indie Boot says Rhaegar is the Justin Bieber of back then. The people around him were the G's. Justin Targ is just laugh out loud. So basically they would have done anything he said. Okay, Connie Super says spaghetti, please.
Yeah, go make me some spaghetti and Dorne.
How did Ned and Howland turn the Tower of Joy into a pile of rubble afterwards? Did they bring a wrecking ball? Okay, so Milt is talking about how Ned says that he made cairns. Is that how you say that word? Which
Cairns?
Is kind of like
I always read it as Cairns.
Cairns.
Okay, as that's like tombs, kind of above the ground, like where you bury people.
Well, it's like, how do you tear down a tower by hand, and then how do you build 8 cairns? Wouldn't it just be easier to drag the bones back to their families, because that's what they are expecting and wanting? Flash forward to Barbary Dustin, and why I like this chapter is because it's still relevant 4 books later. But yeah, I don't know. I think we don't know everyone who was there. And there's also, he dreams of a blood-streaked sky and blue rose petals, which would have been really cool to see on TV, honestly. We also don't see, we saw Dawn as just a sword that had a sun on it, but it wasn't the white milk glass.
They didn't do it the way
Anybody else disappointed with that sword? I see in the comments, I was commenting about it, and that was like the dullest looking thing ever. I know I digress.
No, I appreciate that they make effort to book readers, but I'm just like, man, don't. I was gonna say a bad word, but I'm not gonna do it. Don't. That's.
Anyway, I just saw a comment. I was commenting about it too, and I realized, that was kind of like, they could have at least made it shiny for me. I like sparkly stuff. Like, make it shine like a sun. Like, make it like boom. But no, it's like
glitter.
Yeah, that sword was so Reggie. That sword was so Reggie Miller with just like a sunrise carved on the hilt.
I think what they did for him though was they gave him 2 swords. So that's what was cool about him. It was like he was like Donatello. With
just have one and know how to use it. That's fine.
But so again, and I just mentioned Bloodstreak Sky, and I know we're all over the place, but the next book it opens with the comet, so it's like George is thinking about these things.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. He's very good at maintaining his continuity through the books. Yeah. A lot of television shows and books can't, keep everything together, but he does a great job of that. Now, he has made mistakes in the books, especially in A Feast for Crows. But as far as the other books, they're really, really tightly woven together. He does a great job. I can really, really see how much work he puts into these books. And I can't really hold it against him, for taking such a long time to write them, even though I'm dying for the Winds of Winter.
I know, me too. Jen, can you mute yourself? I'm hearing you text.
It's not me.
Oh, it's not you.
Oh,
sorry. Sorry, Marie. And then, Misha, I forgot what I was going to say. Dang it. Okay, I won. Anyway.
Yeah.
Off topic. What's wrong with Feast for Crows? You didn't like that book?
There's a discrepancy in a Feast for Crows. It has something to do with Dorn and Oberyn's daughters. And in one passage, he says he only has 4, but in another passage, he says that he has 8 daughters.
I thought that was a book to show thing. That was in the books.
No, that wasn't in the books. It's a discrepancy in the books. But all things considered, he's done this book series very well.
Absolutely.
Brilliantly, and I've never read anything with as much enthusiasm and obsession. So thank you, George.
Yeah, we're all obsessed. Now, moving to the next point it's going into the conversation. And I looked for you on the Trident, Ned said to them. They should have been at the Trident to protect Rhaegar, but Gerald states they were not. I find that odd. And woe to the usurper if we had been, said Sir Oswell. And I got here, during this time, this is my bad writing, are the Kingsguard aware that Aerys had named Viserys as the new heir? He sent his pregnant Queen Rhaella and his youngest son and new heir Viserys away to Dragonstone. This is in the World of Ice and Fire. I picked it up in that. Thereby disinheriting Rhaegar's firstborn son Aegon. And is Jon's own claim legitimate if Viserys is the true heir? But one thing is certain, they had rejected Robert's claim. He was always going to be the usurper to them. But what I found interesting, and it's only just a little part in the World of Ice and Fire, that Viserys had basically disinherited Rhaegar and Aegon, or Aegon, as his next heir, and named Viserys as his next heir. And I'm thinking, are the Kingsguard even aware of that?
Probably not. I mean, as great as these men were, they were knights. They were just knights. And it's really, really unheard of for a knight to speak out and to have an opinion about, the line of succession. They are just there to guard. They're just there to guard. And think about that. Preston Jacobs was doing the Arion chapter, and he commented on how unheard of and how uncouth it was for Damon Sand to be speaking, in a conversation, speaking over Princess Arion. I mean, think of the Kingsguard doing that to Cersei. Think of the Kingsguard doing that to Joffrey. So, I mean, I don't believe that those men knew exactly what was going on, especially in the line of succession, on a topic. So I don't believe that they knew a thing. I think they were there to just guard, do their jobs, protect, guard whoever or whatever they're supposed to be guarding, and so on and so forth.
So never question, basically, do, and they were just not a question on their mind, probably, right? Not to question or say if it's right, just act like their lord is acting, just have his back in front.
Yeah, the guards are just supposed to stand there, be quiet,
I'm sorry, I stepped away. Are you talking about when like Aerys would rape his wife and the Kingsguard would just stand there and listen to it because that was their job?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just they're not supposed to speak. They're only supposed to serve and protect. That's what they're supposed to do. They're not supposed to have a voice.
Again, flash forward to Barristan Selmy starting a war in Meereen. Like that man knows war. That man knows combat.
And he knows Westeros too,
and he
the
knows
world.
Westeros, and he's it's almost as like he starts war because that's what he's comfortable with. It's what he knows. Well, I mean, I think he got manipulated into it, but yeah, they obey and serve, like the gray rats that we all love.
That's interesting. Like it's like Jaime. I know we're not on Jaime, but who like knights? Who are knights? Like, what's their honor? If their lord tells them to do something, do they listen and keep their honor, or do they go against honor and kill innocent?
So many oaths to honor to follow one oath. You're breaking 5 other ones sometimes.
Yeah. I think it's obvious. It seems to me like when I read this chapter, though, it's obvious to me that these 3 Kingsguard have decided to come down on Rhaegar's side no matter what. But like Misha said, I don't believe they know exactly what is going on because they're so isolated, and also probably not getting any correspondence because they're trying to keep where they're at complete secret. I don't think they're sending out ravens and stuff from over there. But in the chat, let's go to the chat for a second. At Living My Rhapsody. The one true David Adams wants to know, do you prefer Tormund's beard or Davos's bald spot?
Oh, God. And I think I responded to that saying somewhere in the middle. I don't know.
And Johnny says, and I agree with this. Howland is a ride or die homie, even against the biggest badass of the land. I like him. And if he was afraid, even more credit. Had his homies back. And that's kind of was it wrong what he did? Absolutely. And I think it even surprised Ned a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I interrupted you for no good reason.
No,
I don't know the exact quotes, but it is very much implied that it was done without honor. Like he's this honor obsessed person, and he's there's this implication that somehow Howland Reed did it and it was without honor. And
I've got a question to pose.
In the show was him getting stabbed in the back, but I mean, who knows what it will be in the books if we ever even find out.
Well, I have a question to pose everybody, the chat and the panel. Do you guys think Ned would have stabbed Arthur Dayne in the back to save Howland Reed?
I hope he would. I mean,
I don't think he would.
I don't think he would.
No, he was shocked.
He was.
I think it all depends. I think it all depends. I go back to look at the fight on television between Jon and Carl Tanner. And Carl Tanner basically says to Jon, you learned how to fight with honor. Well, after his encounter with Carl Tanner, he learned his lesson. And I think when he goes to kill Stig, he even spits in his eye, spits the blood in his eye to get the better angle. I think when you're in a battle for your life, the rules go out the door. You're fighting for your life. As for Ned, he's a different caliber, maybe, but I can't say for sure because everyone says that Ned won't lie, but he actually did when he proclaimed Joffrey as the real king. So you just don't know. I think when you're in a battle for life, you'll do anything to stay alive. The rules go out.
That's what a girlfriend told me once. That if you were ever in a fight, you better bite, you better throw sand, you better grab a lamp, you better do whatever you can if you're about to get your ass whooped.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, plus his sister was on the line as well. So, I mean, yes. I believe that rules go right out the window. I mean, I'm in total agreement. When it comes down to it, it's either you or them, and only a fool would try to be cute in a situation like that.
Oh, you mean like the Kingsguard?
I think that Ned was that was the first time he was, I guess, exposed to something like that. Because at least in I'm seeing his face in the show right now, just the expression, because that's, I guess, more burned in my mind. And in the book too, in a way, but show showed it more to me, where he kind of like looked surprised, kind of taken aback. But that was like a wake up thing for him, saying, "Hey, to fight, you gotta play dirty." And I think that was a turning point for him in his life, I think. at this point that made him say it's okay to not be that honorable?
The loss of his, he starts keeping a lot of secrets from here on out in the timeline.
Yep. That was
a lot of secrets
for him.
He's never going to be able to be close with Robert again because he's got to hide the identity of this baby. He's basically driven a wedge between himself and his wife.
So,
yeah, go on.
Go ahead.
I think I'm just babbling. No, I feel like the Tower of Joy is very much a loss of innocence and for Ned.
That was my point too. I was just going to make that. You triggered something interesting here now too. Like what is it called? Like the tower crumbled or the fallen tower or whatever it is. Like if somebody's in their high tower, like like high and mighty, they can't do anything wrong. And this was kind of like the tower crumbled for Ned too. That at that moment he noticed that
very good. Oh, that very good point. And the high tower's words, aren't they as high as honor?
Yeah,
no, that's the Aaron's words. That's the Aaron's words. My bad.
So it crumbled for him too.
Well, I'm
from
looking
then on,
at
he doesn't
this
have to.
tower on the show, and that does not look like something any person could bring down by hand more easily than they could drag bodies back north. But
that sounds so horrible. I love the way you say it. Drag the bodies. I have this image of tying up all the dead bodies, putting them behind a horse, and just dragging them.
He brought the Risewell horse back, or the Dustin horse back.
Normally you would put them somewhere, on that is respectful, and I just got this image of the bodies being dragged.
I don't know. Like, I guess I've just been like in a few like chats recently where it's like, well, which character are you? Which character are you? And I'm like, Barbary Dustin. Don't trust the Maesters, and I know how to nurse a grudge for 20 years.
Yes, she does. Her answer.
And I think she's got a decent point. Like, you had the energy to rip down a tower, but you can't bring back bodies, really?
But then again, there's nothing to burn them with because there was no food, so there's no trees, there's nothing. So you can't make a fire and burn them to just bring the bones back, right? Anyway.
Well, yeah, I don't know. Marie, get us back on track.
Exactly.
Reel us back in if you can.
Reel us in, lady.
And for the next one, it's when King's Landing fell, Sir Jaime Lannister slew your king with a golden sword, and I wondered where you were. Far away, said Sir Gerald, or Ares would yet sit the Iron Throne, and our false brother would burn in 7 hells. And I put here, why would Gerald say far away? I mean, wouldn't you say, I'm here? We were here?
Maybe they weren't there.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm wondering if they were somewhere else and they stopped at the Tower of Joy because Lyanna was close to having Jon. And they had to stop there because I think it was kind of half ruined when I read that a tower long fallen. So I'm thinking, were they staying somewhere else? Maybe Starfall even.
I was wondering that too. Where is the closest? I even looked on a map and I lost interest when the answer wasn't easily found. What is the closest castle to this rubble tower in the Boneway? Like who? I'm sorry.
Would it be Summerhall?
Summerhall.
It's kind of
Summerhall and Dorne. Forgive me. Is Summerhall and Dorne?
I think
Summerhall.
I don't think so.
I'm not sure.
No.
Summerhall is in the Stormlands.
Right.
Oh, in the Stormlands. Oh, forgive me.
I'm thinking at the map, and I'm thinking it's close, but I'm not quite sure because.
Yeah, it's a strange place. I will say, all right. So I did not major in English literature or any kind of subject that would make me an expert on this topic, but I will tell you that there is a podcast out right now. Have you guys Girls Gone Canon? Is anyone listening to that? It's Chloe and Eliana, and the Eliana describing that passage that you're describing, Marie, like, where were you? We were far away. Like there's all this like rhythmic people who understand that, people who can like look at a poem and understand, I don't know, iambic pentameter and things of that nature, which I do not. But apparently it's something that like people who can assess that find that this passage is very, very, very well, like beautifully written. I mean, I think it's well written, but I don't know why. Like they can tell you why. So anyway, no, I'm not. Go on, Marie.
Milt's brought up Sky Reach, I don't really know that. Maybe that's somewhere in Dawn, Skyreach.
Skyreach.
I should look at the map. Yeah, I don't really.
Yeah,
I've never
let's look
really
at our maps.
That's what Milk Kate in the chat says.
Skyreach. I believe Milt. Sometimes he beats me in trivia, but not always.
But I just feel that they were somewhere else. They spent their time somewhere else. Whoops, I've got to mute for a sec.
Mackenzie says Starfall's pretty far away from the Tower
It is far
of
away.
Joy.
But if they're in Dorne and with Arthur Dane, so it's like you got to figure, I don't know. And then there's the Wyla thing. But all right, guess what? Other stuff happens in this chapter too. Marie, bring us back in.
Okay, I'll just have to be a bit silent for it because my dog's playing up a bit naughty. You'll have to forgive me if my dogs play up because my brother will be going to work soon. So.
We love
Mine
doggies
bark
here.
when somebody knocks on the
dog
door.
friendly.
Yeah, it's dog friendly here.
It's
Lover of
actually,
the animals.
it's actually expected to bring your animal to stream. It's going to be a stream like that. Bring your animal to stream one day.
Well,
I will have a hard
Bosco's
time
already
bringing
chewed my notes.
I'm going to have a hard time bringing my fish over here. I'll bring my dog.
Bosco's chewed a hole in my notes, so I'm kind of reading around where he's chewed it.
Shame him on the stream. Like, see, this is the dog that ate my book.
He's going to be world famous, Bosco, and his antics.
Okay, the point is, let's feed your dogs. You don't want our dogs. We don't want them ending up like Ramsay's. Yeah. Anyway,
Oh, no.
let's move on.
They're more
Anyway,
like dire wolves. There are little dire wolves.
Ned goes on to tell them that he lifted the siege at Storm's End, where Tyrell and Redwine dipped their banners and bent the knee to Robert. Our knees do not bend easily, said Sir Arthur Dane. And this is where I've got here discuss, is it right to serve an evil king? I don't get how good people like Sir Arthur Dane, Oswald Went, Gerald Hightower can serve such an evil king. Where do they draw the line at honour? You know, they're supposed to be men of honour, yet they're serving a dishonourable king who's ready to burn people alive, rape his wife, who's obviously mentally unstable.
Well, and they were
knows
also,
this.
I think it was Gerald Hightower was your job to Jamie when Jamie's like, shouldn't we step in? Jamie's like, Hightower was like, your job is to protect them, not to judge him.
Right. And I think that's a reoccurring theme in the book series. We get it from Rob really good in the TV when he's like, oh, well, these two just watch. So let them watch and then kill them. Is it right to just watch somebody do terrible things and not say anything? Or are you guilty too? In my world, you're guilty too.
You're just guilty.
Yeah.
And also, Jamie's lament, one of the great speeches in the books, I think, was done better. Like when they make you swear and swear, serve the king. But what if your king is bad? They make you swear to do this and that and the other. And I'm thinking, when do the King's Guard say enough is enough? I mean, would they have stood by if he wanted to burn King's Landing to the ground and said, okay, let's kill 1 million people then, because the king said it's okay?
Oh, there is a lot of people turning a blind eye. Robert's doing it. Cersei's doing it. Eddard's doing it. It's just, I think it's just a part of the Westerosi culture. It seems like someone in every chapter is turning a blind eye, and it's just been going on. And I think it's just a part of who they are, who the Westerosi people are. To just blatantly stand idly by as a man rapes his sister, marries his sister, rapes his sister, and calls her wife, and just protect a person like this. Try to keep a brother from his own sister. I mean, think of the parallel there. They're protecting a man who's raping his sister, but they are trying to stop a true loving brother from saving his sister's life. I mean, it just feels like such a parallel, such a contradiction.
Bravo, Misha. Great point. I love that parallel. Yes.
I mean, what kind of, that's a good point, Marie, just what you said. What kind of man would do this? Why would you keep a loving, decent brother away from his dying sister, but stand idly by and let an insane brother rape his sister?
Maybe they were prophecy obsessed as well. Maybe the Targaryens were seen as superhuman. They're blood of the dragon. They're magic, essentially,
Plus, I think the people who were choosing the boys or men at that point to be part of that Kingsguard or any kind of night place thing that they would sign up for, they were choosing those who are basically easily convinced and follow. They wouldn't choose just they chose those who are blind to anything.
Not Jaime. Bad pick.
Well, he was chosen out of spite.
He was chosen out of spite,
and it really bit him in the ass, didn't it?
Yeah, it's like when you tell the young bold boy to go bring me the head of your father.
Yeah. But I can, as far as Jaime Lannister go, I can kind of understand what he said when he said, why should I explain myself? Why does the lion have to justify itself to the wolf? Because think about it. If Jaime had said something to Ned, Ned will have most likely still held it against him. And he didn't want to appear desperate. You know what I'm saying? Because you can tell someone the truth and tell them the truth about what happened, but that person can still not believe in you. And I don't think he wanted to be, seen as begging him for his approval. I mean, I can totally understand that. I mean, I don't think that a person, should spend the rest of their lives constantly justifying their actions to someone else.
So I think whenever I think of Jaime and how he chose to handle, Ned found him sitting on the Iron Throne and he could just feel the judgment in his eyes. Mm-hmm. Tyrion's got that very infamous line, like, know what you are and then wear it as a shield so that no one can use it against you. Like, people see Jaime as the Kingslayer, the traitor, whatever. So he's just going to be like, yep, that's me. I was just keeping it warm for you. Like, that's sort of how I see how he handled that, is even though there maybe was a lot more morality in there, I think that he just is sort of protecting himself with all his bravado. Like, yep, I slew the king. I'm a terrible person. What do you have to say to me about it?
Yep. And that was, I think, mentioned before. I mean, I mentioned it before. He shouldn't have been, I don't want to call it brooding, but he should have said something. He just I don't think he wanted people to know the truth. Jaime, if Jaime wanted people to know that he was not a bad guy, he would have said something.
Yeah, it's like, wear it like armor. Tyrion's like,
he wanted to act like he didn't care, but he did care.
I wish I was the monster you thought I am. I know he says that in the show. I know Peter Dinklage says that. I don't know if Tyrion in the book says that. But yeah, like, I wish I was the monster you thought I am.
That was a great line.
That could absolutely apply to Jaime too.
Please, Murray.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Murray.
This is a little bit off topic, but when it comes to Jaime, I did a vid on him and what he goes through as the King's Guard, and what I found was his sentence where he says, wakes up from a dream and he says, it was not Ned, it was never him. It wasn't Ned that was really bothering Jaime, it was his conscience, because the act of killing the king didn't bother Jaime, it was the children. Rhaegar's children were slain. That's what I have to get my dog. He's biting my cord.
Meanwhile, he will throw a child out of a window without a second thought.
Right.
I know, but that's later.
Such is the paradox of Jaime.
I know, of Jaime. Be good one time, and then he'll do something really. I mean, I swing like a pendulum with Jaime. Read one chapter, and I think, it's not too bad. Then I read another chapter, and I think, you bloody bastard! I knew I hated you for a reason.
Like, probably way too much, but yeah, like.
But that's what kind of got me here was he finally wakes up that it was not Ned's condemning look that was getting to Jaime. It was the death of Rhaegar's children, that his father was responsible for slaying 2 innocent children.
3, right? No.
2. Oh, 2 and the wife, Elia.
Oh, right, 3. Okay, that's my 3.
No, I'm going to have to mute for a bit while I tick off my little dog. He's biting my cord.
You don't electrocute yourself, doggo.
Oh, God. They say electricity tastes interesting. I don't know why I said that. Somebody.
How about
That's why they want to eat it.
Do you guys, since it's 10 o'clock, do you guys want to move on to when he wakes up?
Let's move on. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's go ahead. That's fine. I think if you have anything else, Marie, to say, then
we'll come back to it once you take care of doggo.
Yeah. It's really not that much. It's just them talking outside and giving, the famous line. So now it begins, and then Ned saying, "No, this is
now
how
it ends."
Yeah. And it's a beautiful. They did a really good job, of it in the show.
I think it would have been really cool. I think it would have been really cool to see the blood in the sky and the blue rose petals just as like a trippy fever dream, but I liked the Tower of Joy. I mean, R plus L equals J happened in front of our face.
Yeah.
Sorry to everyone who doesn't believe that, but that happened right in front of our face.
Mm-hmm.
It was a rewarding scene. It was a reward. I mean, I was on the edge of my seat when I watched it.
My only qualm is that they should have made it 3 against 7, and
it wasn't 3 against 7 in the show. Yeah.
And Sir Arthur Dane, even though the guy who played Sir Arthur Dane was pretty awesome,
he was cute.
Those blades, yeah, he was gorgeous too, and the way he worked those blades was excellent. But I just wish that they had just showed, the Valyrian steel that he had, and he didn't need to swing 2 swords, because it kind of reminded me of Deadpool a little bit. He kind of reminded me of the Deadpool of Westeros.
Yeah, and there was no milk blast.
Yeah, and it kind of cheapened it having him work 2 swords. But all in all, I really enjoyed the scene. I'm glad that they put it in. And yes, apparently R plus L does equal J. So I'm happy that they did that for us. They needed to do something. Clear up at least one of these mysteries that's been hanging, in the community, in the GOT community for like 20 years. So yeah, I'm happy for that. I'm happy.
I just want to thank Johnny Indy Boots, or as I know him, Johnny the Irish Wildling, for coming to the chat tonight. Y'all click on his icon and sub. He makes some really funny material, and he has some good chats. And thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Johnny. I appreciate.
Yeah, thank you, everybody.
To come back anytime.
So
let's go ahead and move on now.
Once he wakes up, I'm so happy, by the way, that what was it? It's Jane Poole's dad, the steward. The steward is who greets Ned upon awakening, not Maester Pycelle. And so like as Jen said, he asks for Jory, and then he thinks to ask for Jory, and then remembers Jory's dead. And that's sort of like, I don't know. I mean, if you've ever had like a deceased person like in your family or a friend or whatever, you're like, oh, I can't wait to tell this person about this. Oh wait, they're not here anymore. Or like, yeah. So that's sort of twisting the knife in Jory. But also, Ned asks after Sansa and Arya, and maybe it's because I'm a person who has 3 girls, and people are always like, or especially, okay, I also have twins, and they're like, oh, well, which one's the nice one? Which one's the mean one? And like always trying to divide them. Like, which one's this one? Which one's that one? Like they're way more similar than they are different. But here's what they say. They say, they've been with you every day, my lord. Sansa prays quietly, but Arya, he hesitated. She has not said a word since they brought you back. She is a fierce little thing, my lord. I have never seen such anger in a girl. And what I want to say is there's probably that much anger in Sansa too. It's just, she just expresses it differently. But anyway, this is not about Arya and Sansa. I just wanted to go off on that tangent. Whatever happens, Ned said, I want my daughters kept safe. I fear this is only the beginning. No harm will come to them, Lord Eddard. Alan said, I stake my life on that.
Again, promises.
We don't actually see Alan dead, do we? I don't think we see Alan dead. I don't think we see Alan's head anywhere. But anyway, moving on. So Alan Poole sends the bodies of his guard off with the Silent Sisters. Let's see what else. As soon as Marie comes back, she can take care of moving us forward.
Let me see if I can go ahead and
sure. I was gonna say Robert shows up with the Queen.
Yes, Robert shows up, and I thought that it was very telling, before we get to the whole section with Robert, how Ned is completely and totally unwilling, to get up out of that bed and go and meet the king. In my mind, it feels like he's lost a whole lot of respect for Robert in a very, very short time.
Misha, I feel like he can't even bring himself to sit up and talk to Ned. I feel like he's in that much sickness and pain. Like you think it was purposeful?
Well, I mean, I know that his leg is busted.
I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. I'm sorry.
I know his leg is busted, and but I just feel like there's some underlying like it's convenient that his leg is busted now, because now he doesn't have to go and cater to Robert as he once did.
Well, that's why I love this scene, because he's all doped up on milk of the poppy, and then he's like, oh, sure, have some wine. It'll help you. It's the first time he actually talks shit back to Robert, but I'm jumping ahead. But yeah.
Ned starts to doubt Robert when he gets, I forget the name of the guy now who's in charge, but he gets him to bring the Stark troop, like what's left of the Starks, to protect the girls and him, because he's starting to doubt Robert can do the job for him.
Robert says he put extra guards out because...
But he doubts... Yeah, but Ned is now starting to doubt Robert.
I feel like he was been doubting Robert since he showed up in King's Landing.
Arya doubted Robert when she hit Joffrey, and she was smart enough to basically push Nymeria away, because she knew that something bad would happen to her direwolf, whereas Ned trusted Robert. I mean, he even brings up Lyanna's name back then, but still Ned continues to trust Robert. I think really what changed Ned is the little prostitute girl who was only 15 years old.
Yes, like you paid extra. You paid extra for a virgin. You disgusting
old thing. And then even in that, this is another chapter I know, but he kind of thinks to himself, would Rhaegar have done that? And he knows Rhaegar would not have.
Yes. Yes.
So to me, and Robert rebukes Ned, but when Ned tries to explain, Robert shuts him down. This again shows a total disregard for the safety of Ned and his family. Robert's only concern is ever only for himself.
Yeah.
Then Ned strikes back with, 3 of my men were butchered before my eyes because Jaime Lannister wished to chasten me. Am I to forget that?
Yeah, and then that nasty bitch Cersei is like, you were coming out of a brothel drunk. Like, it's scary. Like, people who can lie that easily scare me. And
I was just... Go ahead.
Sociopaths.
Yeah, I know a few.
This is the last straw. To me, this is the last straw for Ned, that Robert would believe it. Like Ned says, Robert says, I spoke to Littlefinger myself. Like, Littlefinger won't lie to a king. Sorry, he will.
Yeah.
And this is the last straw for Ned when it comes to trusting Robert.
I also think, though, that Robert was sort of like, okay, I'm going to pretend that Catelyn seizing Tyrion was legal and okay. I mean, like, as much as I do think that Ned finds Robert disgusting and has no respect for him, I do respect Robert for at least smoothing over that situation such that, okay, that was a lawful seizure based on because Robert, Ned is like, I did it in your name as the hand of the king. I told her to do it. and okay, well, untell her. Like, meanwhile,
But
he knows Catelyn did it.
Robert never asks why. Why did you do this? He never asks because he doesn't want to know. And did you notice too that Robert dresses the part for Ned? This is Ned, his friend.
So does nasty whore Cersei. I'm sorry. Yeah. Even in this show, they try to make her look way more sympathetic. Because I was looking at, but no, in the books, she shows up with a jeweled tiara. And like, I was joking last week in the chat, like, I know when I ever go to visit someone in that intensive care unit, I definitely wear all my jewels and a crown and a tiara just to like settle in easy with the patient who's vulnerable.
Says Sarah, all glammed up for us in my favorite color, blue. And I'm not.
Oh, well, listen, this chapter deserves the outfit.
I know. So not only you showed us your beautiful green eyes off the stream, and I was like, dang it. And mine are hazel or whatever they are. And then she wears my favorite color, blue. I love you, Sarah. Anyway.
Yeah. No, there was a dance between Robert and Cersei and Ned. And I mean...
So with that dance... I just wanted to add something with that so-called dance that you called it. I was so surprised at Ned that Ned just said it out loud in front of
He's like,
Cersei.
You think I was out fucking chicks? I was looking at you, bastard, you idiot.
Yeah.
And
I was
meanwhile,
like,
you're like,
Ned.
Cersei's like list of people to kill just got one more tick in it. Like,
and Robert never thinks John Arryn went to a whorehouse and died soon after. Ned goes to one and he gets hurt soon after.
Being drunk ain't easy.
And Robert should know Ned by now to know that he wouldn't go to a whorehouse for no reason, good reason at all.
Yeah,
but that's why he loses his temper. That little comment.
Yeah, milk of the poppy and alcohol will bring out Ned's like truth.
Yes.
Yeah, he says, hand of the king, Ned told her with icy courtesy, charged by your own lord husband to keep the king's peace and enforce the king's justice. Let's see.
Like Ned explained about the whorehouse and Robert's bastard daughter Barra, but Ned is watching Cersei's reaction. He's not watching Robert's. He's watching Cersei, and her face is a mask. But didn't that little girl die?
She sure did on Cersei's orders. In the book, I mean, excuse me, in the show, I think it was Joffrey who put out the death for all the bastards. But it's like poor Barra Baratheon would be, Barra Waters, whatevs.
And then Robert says, damn the girl, I thought she had more sense.
She's a 15-year-old hoe.
Yeah. She's got freckles on her boobs. Like, why is that detail necessary?
And then Ned said she cannot be more than 15 and a whore, and you thought she had more sense. I mean, Ned's really it's true. I think Milk of the Poppy's loosened his tongue, and he's really coming out with the truth to Robert's face.
So meanwhile, then Cersei, there's too much truth in the room. So Cersei says, I should wear the armor and you the gown, which gets her slapped, which was not
backhanded,
kingly.
Really backhanded.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like I felt much sorry for her in the show than I did in the books. In the books, I was like, thanks, Robert, which is a horrible thing to say as a woman, but in the show, I felt way worse for her. I felt like he's a bully, he's horrible, she's a victim, but like, I don't know. Anyway.
I mean, she knows how to push his buttons. At some point, she knows what to say exactly. Not excusing him, but we all know that somebody somewhere who will just say one word and it's going to they know exactly what to do. They know how to hurt you with one word. And that woman used lots more things than just one word. Not excusing him, but...
She knew what to say that would really jump him off. Yeah, exactly.
Knowing him, she knew him and she knew what to do and she knew the consequences, I think.
But it also tells you too where Susie's mindset, as in the book too and in the show, she's always wanted to be Jaime, and the closest she can be to Jaime is to have sex with him.
She is the epitome of penis envy. I'm sorry, but if you've ever read a Psychology 101 book, there's a person called Sigmund Freud.
Yeah.
who writes and trips and drugged women extensively who he felt had penis envy. And it's like, I don't know if it exists in Cersei Lannister.
There's
not a woman more resentful of the fact she was born without a cock than Cersei Lannister.
I certainly think it exists, and definitely, and with good reason, because women are so, I mean, you know, we've had to fight for everything we have in this world and certainly in that world, I'm sure. But
there's fighting, and there's what she does is just in the book she's more diabolical. I get what Sarah's saying.
Antagonistic.
In the book she's evil because whoever upsets her, she hands them over to Qyburn, knowing that Qyburn is going to experiment on the
she's a protagonist at this point. Like, honestly, at this point in the show, I'm rooting for Cersei. Like, Cersei sort of makes the most sense in the show. It makes me question who I am as a human being. But like, in the books, like, totally different. Anyway, sorry, Alamar.
In the show, they make her, I mean, the actress that plays her, she's gorgeous and her acting is superb. So I think we kind of have this tendency to lean towards the people that are attractive to us.
That's true.
So we kind of want to, like, we love hating her.
So Elamar, I almost wonder, and I think the person who played Catelyn Tully is beautiful. And if I look like her ever in my life, I will consider it a beautiful moment. But in the books, she's described as much as like young and beautiful and fertile, and I wonder what would happen. Like, there's a lot of Catelyn hate, which this chapter is not about, but there's a lot of Cat, and I almost wonder if it would have been a little bit easier for Cat if she was like super hot in the show, you know? Like,
I think it would have been easier. I know people are just people and they can say what they say, but I still know people, so they're lying.
Let's go to the chat for a minute. We have a good comment here that has to be read. Alicia Kingston, AK, says, Cersei is a narcissist penis envoy thought, that hoe over there. She's fucking Jaime physically, but in her head, she's fucking herself with a cock.
I mean, isn't that a narcissist's dream, is to fuck themselves? Like,
yeah, I mean, it really is. But still, at hashtag fuck Caitlin. And Alicia would also like to know where you're from, Elamar. And I thought this would just be a good opportunity for you to tell everybody if you want to.
Sure, yeah. I'm from Poland originally, and I did write it in the comments too. That's why I'm kind of silent here. Not because, anyway. But yeah, from Poland originally, and right now in Illinois for a while. Yeah. I mean, house sitting still. People who know me, I'm all over the place. I need to go back home.
Very good. Okay.
I have a comment on Cersei. I don't think that she physically wants to be a man. I just think that she wants the power that men have, because men do have a little bit more power than women here. Women are not allowed to choose their own husbands. Are not allowed to learn how to fight. And I think that she just wants the freedom. I think she just wants the freedom, you know, to choose the husband that she wanted to. I don't think that she technically wanted to be physically a man. I don't think she despises her womanhood that much. I think that she just hates the fact that women are put upon, and she just wants control over her life, control over who she marries, control over, you know, what she can do. If she wants to learn how to fight or wear armor or train and learn things that a man can learn, I think she just wanted that. I don't think she physically wanted to be a man. I think she was happy. I just think that she just hates, you know, the stereotypical role that women had to play, you know, back in the medieval times, you know. And I can't really hold that against her for that, because I don't want anyone choosing my husband. I don't want anyone to do, you know, when I'm supposed to get married and how many kids I'm supposed to have and and I don't want to be thrown away if I can't bear you a son. And I mean, and if I want to learn how to fight instead of play a musical instrument, then I don't want anyone telling me that I can't. I mean, I just think that she wants her voice. But the thing with Cersei is, once she finally gets the power that she's been craving, she just tore herself apart. She just ran herself and ran the kingdom into the ground. And I think it had her voice in
Are we buffering? Just a question. I hear a lot of static. I just wanted to check if it's us or if it's just me, and if it's us, maybe we can like do
maybe we can
camera.
Mute. Is everybody muted?
Did anybody else hear that?
Definitely, it's like Misha's just bouncing around.
Okay.
Misha, do you have on headphones or?
No, I don't.
No, it's fine. I'll just keep muting myself and maybe
everybody mute if you're not talking. That usually kills the bounce.
Well, so I'm sorry, everyone, if my opinion wasn't heard. Pretty much all I'm saying is Cersei didn't want to be a man physically. She just wanted some power, some real power of her own. And she, all her life felt like she had no voice, no power, no decisions, no decision making, even though she was a wealthy, powerful woman, a more of a powerful woman than, a woman off the street. She really didn't have much power over her life, over her body, over who she was supposed to marry. And I think I can't really hold it against Cersei for that. I just think that she just wanted, to have some authority over her life. And the sad thing is that when she finally got that authority, she didn't know what to do with it. She made a mess of herself. She made a mess of everyone in the kingdom and everyone in King's Landing, and it just went from bad to worse. So I mean, that's pretty much, if I have some sort of sympathy for Cersei, there it is, because she never really got control over her life. She just has been told what to do, when to do, how to do all her life. And I can't blame her for being resentful of her womanhood, because all she's seeing is men making all the decisions. And she just wanted to make a decision for herself.
Internalized misogyny, like she hates women and therefore she hates herself. She accuses Marjorie of everything she did. I don't know. She's not a girl's girl.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a very good point, Sarah.
To me, there's a big difference between wanting control and controlling others. And to me, Cersei wants to control others as much as she wants control of herself.
She thinks of herself as Tywin with teats. Like,
yes.
Nah.
Yes, she's not. I mean, it's true what they all say. She overestimates her intelligence, and she does. Like,
and
she's
it's
not
a shame.
She's not a sympathetic person in the book, because look what she does to Tommen. I mean, to control Tommen, she tortures his I forget now what they're called, squire or whatever. Boy.
He got a whipping.
She whips him. Yeah. So every time Tommen stands up to her, she whips his friend, which is his friend.
A thing called empathy, which normal people have.
And she doesn't have it.
Not you,
and so
bitch, but
to me, she sort of controls Tommen by being cruel to his best friend. That's controlling. It's not wanting control. It's controlling. There's kind of like a little bit of a difference.
I mean, I do feel bad for her that she feels that she should. Yeah, I
feel bad for her in that she didn't have a very good example in life, and that her father is a tyrant.
I mean, it's a shame that like the man she decides to emulate is like a horrible, horrible human, if you even want to call him human.
You guys, we have a great comment in the chat from Connie Super. Robert said to Ned in Barrowlands, "War is coming, Ned. This overt act of taking Tyrion is what Robert knows is the act that will bring Tywin out in force."
Which is true, yeah. Good point.
In the Barrowlands, why did they say war is coming? Because he just felt it in his big fat bones, or what? Like,
I think he was at a point where he already was suspicious about John Aaron's death, but couldn't just place blame on anybody. Which is why he went to get Ned, because he was basically the only person left in the world that he completely trusts.
The Targaryen whore married a Dothraki.
Yeah, he sees enemies everywhere. Robert is paranoid.
Well,
but
it's like you're so concerned about the Targaryens and Essos. Like, look at who's around you. Like, look at your squire who's about to poison you. Look at, yeah.
And we know he felt that, though, because at the tourney of the hand or whatever, he said to Ned, you know, I'm surrounded by them. Lannisters everywhere I look.
Well, and Ned is like disturbed. He goes into his Robert's tent, and it's like, it smells like alcohol already. It's probably like 10 o'clock in the morning. They're trying to put his armor on. It won't fit because he's like insisting on playing in the melee or whatever. And he's like, there was Lannisters everywhere. And it just made him feel very, very unsettled that there was just Lannisters everywhere. And I guess when you're drunk and you have just resigned yourself to like, this is what's going to happen, that's what happens. But his big fat bones. Yeah, sorry, Nancy.
I wanted to add something. Correct. I wanted to add something. Speaking of the battling people and all that, there's a quote that I wrote down, and I can actually read my own writing here, so I gotta read it. So it says, I think Robert said that. He said, "How do you fight someone if you cannot hit them?" And then he was speaking of Rhaegar, talking about black armor and black heart. Anybody else thought about White Walkers and Night King? How can you fight somebody if you cannot hit them or maybe hurt them? Just wondering.
I did not think of that, but that does not make it a very good point.
So that's a fabulous segue into something else. That's a very good point, because in the prologue, that's what we basically get. Waymore Royce can't even get a lick in. Can't even get one lick in.
And have you guys heard Gray Area talking about how the others might have thought that was Jon Snow, and that's why they sort of like watched him and played with him for a little bit. Once they realized that was not Valyrian steel, that was not going to be a problem, they killed him. I feel like I listened to that recently. I don't know, sometimes I wake up and there's random videos playing. Not that I don't purposefully listen to Gray Area, I do, but that they thought Waymore Royce was Jon Snow, and there's like something special, or Stark. Like they like Craster can look at Jon Snow and be like, "That's a Stark. What's he doing here?" Maybe the White Walkers can do the same thing. I don't know how I got talking about this. I'm gonna defer to you.
So I think I always have thought there's something to that.
If there's a highborn dude out there with a fancy Garen and whatever, that prologue to Game of Thrones is awesome. It really is good. It's like its own story. It's the most we learn about the White Walkers. Like, the show is very more like visual. I mean, they're ugly as hell in the show, but they're supposed to be beautiful in the books. Like, I really kind of wonder what. Like, I think they had to make them ugly to be bad guys, but.
Yeah, exactly.
Beautiful. I want to know. Like,
I wanted a beautiful one. I wanted them to be beautiful, but I think I might have had skewed opinion of them at that point. I would have been rooting for them.
I'm all for like Children of the Forest being evil, because anything with like a pupil that goes up and down, I don't trust. But sorry, cats and snakes.
How many do you have like around you? Like, are you surrounded by them?
Yeah, totally. Sorry.
That is scary. I'm sorry.
No, but like, the Children of the Forest, their eyes, their slits and their eyes go up and down. Like, that shit is not to be trusted. That's snakes and cats. Sorry. But
what LMR came up with, I came up with the storm of rose petals blew across the Blood Street sky, as blue as the eyes of death. And I thought to myself, is it kind of like metaphorical? Is this a rosy sunset, or is Ned glimpsing the future? In the show, the Night King is a greenseer, but so is Bloodraven and Bran. Is this insert in Ned's dream a warning, and is Ned seeing the Blood Street comet? and the blue eyes of death are the Night King and White Walkers.
That's a good one.
Yeah, very good.
Very good.
I really need to go back and reread the books, because if the Night King is a green seer, he's also affecting people's dreams. So who's... So now we have to kind of, we've got to read each vision and each dream is saying, who's this from, Blood Raven or the Night King? So I really do need to go back and reread the books with that in mind. If the Night King is a green seer in the books.
Look, I have dreams, and I don't believe in the Night King or the Children of the Forest or anybody. So, like, sometimes you can just have a chirpy dream, too. Like, I agree. Like, I just don't think every single dream, every single vision has to be Quaith, has to be Blood Raven, has to be Glass Candle. You know what I mean? Like, I hear you, Marie. I think that every single vision and dream needs to be reevaluated with that in mind. But also, people in real life have fucked up dreams. Excuse my language. Sorry, I don't mean to get you banned from
I
the
have
internet.
terrible dreams. You guys, I have night terrors where I literally, like, you hear about people. You guys can ask Russell. When we first were together, we've been together now almost 10 years. He would think I was talking to him, and I'm sound ass asleep, like saying stuff like, no, quit, stop, F you. Like, and I have really crazy, vivid dreams sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes.
So is there like a werewood with a one-eyed 200-year-old dude living in it near you?
Oh, I bet your bed.
We do have a fig tree.
Maybe your bed is made out of not oak, but made out of
werewood. Oh my gosh, it's a werewood stump.
You be careful what you buy. Like, ask at the store, like, where is it imported from?
Speaking of, though, I think we need to pay special attention to any dreams or any visions that come from around werewoods, because
Yeah, I love thinking of Ned's Tower of Joy dream with Jamie's werewood stump dream, because it's with the same homies, like.
Very true. Yeah, very true.
Good point. That's a good point. And since we've got Blood Raven, basically, and I think you're a proponent of this, Marie, that Blood Raven is not good.
I'm thinking that my thought is that Blood Raven, to me, a person is how they lived, and Blood Raven always lived to protect the realm. I mean, he could be quite ruthless about it. I think he's a man who the ends justify the means, and he doesn't care if anyone's standing in his way, he'll just run over them. Yeah,
I'm inclined to believe he didn't care about being liked. I mean, if you've got albinism, you've got albinism and a port wine stain, are you making a lot of friends? Probably not. No. You're using your brain and your ability for something, and it was.
And he always protected the realm. That was Blood Raven's thing. So the Children of the Forest, I'm with Sarah here. I'm just not quite sure about them. They seem manipulative to me. When he first meets Leaf, Leaf comes out with this great big wild tale of woe, and I'm always wary of anyone who comes out with, really feels sorry for me, especially when I think Tony Teflon, shout out to Tony Teflon, he brings up a really good points in his vids about the Children of the Forest. They're a warring tribe. They're not a peaceful little people. They warred with the giants, and the giants were the only two people that shared the land.
He might have said this in passing, but I bring it up every time I hear it. Like, he compared them to the gremlins, and that just never left me. So it's like, you think they're cute, they're called the children,
don't feed them after midnight.
I'm kind of dubious about them. I don't know who's using who. I don't know if Blood Raven's using them or they're using him. We'll have to wait till Wednesday to find out, hopefully.
Let me, I just want to say this, and this is where my mind went when you were talking, Marie, and you were saying Blood Raven always protected the realm. And Blood Raven is also a Blackfriar bastard, isn't he? Okay, so Varys in the show, they always put that on him, protecting the realm, protecting the realm. Can we take this as a possible clue that he is a Targaryen bastard?
I don't. No, I really do hope we get the backstory of Varys before he dies. I'm going to be pissed if we don't. I want to know what those flames said.
I'm inclined to believe that. Listen, I don't know where I heard this. I don't know if I thought of it myself. At this point, it's all just like mixed together. But Illyrio was he keeps a woman's hands, like stone hands, and it's like the only woman named Sarah in the fucking story has to be this like bitch with like
My middle name is Shay, girl.
She's got to be like the Gray Plague, and her like petrified hands are kept in that nasty fuck Illyrio's palace. Okay, that's great. Anyway, but I think that they're in a... Oh, I love the idea that he shaves his head because it might come in white or whatever, but like, and he powders himself to disguise himself. But I love the idea. I mean, it just seems super duper logical that like the young Griff is a Blackfire, and I don't know if Varys is a Targaryen bastard or loyalist or what have you, but I think he's definitely in bed with Illyrio, who's propping up.
Well, I always wonder why they've kept what was said in the Flames a secret, because the Flames said his name, and it's not Varys.
Well, and look, you mentioned Tony Teflon. Teflon says that they ate his dick. I'm like, I think they just burned it. Sorry, too much?
I'm still gonna have dinner. Thank you, Sarah.
Okay, yeah.
I mean,
don't eat the sausage.
I did a whole thing about food, and he was like, they burned and ate it. And I was like, no, they didn't. But like, he's like, you don't know. And I'm like, you don't know me either. But I mean,
I hope you're not having sausages.
I mean, why waste food? I don't know.
Well, I mean, whatever. So they obviously cut off his manhood. They burned it. Per Teflon, they ate it. But
why is the question? When you do blood magic, for a reason.
Like gobble up people too. I mean, like Bran ate his friend Jojen. Like all these fucking sorry, Misha. All these powerful people seem to be consuming.
Well, isn't it true that somewhere, like in our world, or at some point you were supposed to eat the hearts of hearts of your enemies, or something of your enemies to bring you power and whatever. So you're supposed to do that, like in a ceremony. Ouch. Anyway,
I don't know, but I know that Daenerys ate a horse heart and owned the crowd after she did so.
That's a lot of food.
Oh.
I know that in college I did
Sarah?
I did a chicken 911 challenge where they like supposedly put mace, like pepper spray in the wings, and I ate one wing and my mouth is on fire and I wanted to die, and I was like, guess what, if I quit now my mouth is on fire and I want to die, so I might as well eat all of them. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I did, and I'm not gonna lie, I got respect from a lot of people who couldn't do it.
A lot of Pepto-Bismol too, I hope.
Well, I vomited it out and it burned all over again, but
okay,
sorry.
No, but you were the food specialist, the panelist.
I'm not a food specialist.
No, at the panel, yeah. So I can only.
But pepper spray hurts. Pepper spray hurts.
More respect to you right now.
I might have been pepper sprayed by the police before. It hurts. It hurts.
How does it taste, Jen? Is it tasty?
I mean, it's very hot. It's like, have you guys ever eaten like what is that? That's so hot, in my opinion, like an Anaheim chili, or like any of the super hot peppers, like a habanero or what have you, and you eat it and you can feel it all over your burning.
Yeah, no, this was 6 wings, and I was like, I can go out like a bitch at 1, or I can go out like a champion at 6.
So is that your opinion, ladies? Those who experience the maze, to close your eyes, open your mouth. I don't know.
I mean,
that's what I got from this convo. I'm sorry. That's what I get.
It's painful. It's painful. It's not what you think.
I stay away from hot food because it doesn't sit well with me.
Right. I get heartburn really bad.
Can I be rude for just 1 moment? Septa Shayna secrets. So I did it with a friend. We both ate the chicken, and he only ate 1, and then was like, I have self-respect and I'm not going to continue with this. Therefore, his was digested. And he called us like the next 2 days and was like, it was so much worse coming out.
Oh, God.
And I just felt so grateful for the fact that I puked.
You guys, let's also give a shout out to Septus Shayna's Secrets. Some really good videos. A good video about some of the Kingsguard being, which we really didn't go into here, but about some of the Kingsguard still being alive, like Core and Halfhand.
All kinds of genetics. All kinds of genetics can be found on that channel.
Hit that icon and sub to the channel. Some good videos for you to check out there to get you through this long night.
But my question is, why did Varys have his parts chopped off? Blood magic, they do it for a reason.
Probably because he was a royal or some sort.
He was highborn. He's highborn.
What was the cause of it? What happened after it happened?
He was a mummer, and someone in Essos probably recognized him as like either Targaryen or Targaryen bastard, and blood's like royal magic. Like I hate that we live in a world. And I say we live in a world and that we read about a world and we're talking about a world. We live in a world where absolutely genetics matters, hierarchy matters. Like Targaryens are special. They're not it's not a diplomatic society. It's
the cause of it.
Feudalism and magic.
So Marie, are you asking why they did it or what happened after they did it?
I'm asking why. What was the reason? There's a reason why they chopped off his nether regions.
Maybe they wanted. I love the way you said that. You're so proper. I love proper.
Yeah.
Stream.
I bring the opposite, but
I love the other one too. Okay, I love you, ladies.
We balance each other out, Marie.
Yeah, everybody's different.
And so I'm thinking that they must have wanted obviously something, but what was that something? Maybe a prophecy? Maybe they wanted. That's a good one.
Yeah, because
like, what did they want? What did they get from
we
him?
Are so off topic, but
we are.
Guess what?
This is awesome.
Show Varys has lost all like as soon as that like Kinvara, who was like crazy cute and was like, I know what happened to you. Like as soon as that happened, I feel like Varys just kind of hangs out and doesn't really do anything useful now on the show. Is that fair to say?
Well, yeah, but I'm thinking that maybe just kind of writing and all that. So
yeah, okay.
But just imagine, just a quick thing to validate what you were saying, Marie. Gendry's or different persons in the book, blood just from the leeches.
Oh yeah,
killed a couple people, and his whole package. What did it do? I mean, we know what it did before. No, but he was a kid. We know what it could have done later. But what did it do? Like, what did it achieve? There was a lot of him being sacrificed.
Yeah, it's his ability to have children for one was sacrificed, and I'm thinking. I even look back at the timetable to Summerhall. I'm thinking, was it the fire? Did they want to have the fire of Summerhall? The timelines didn't ring out right. So I'm thinking, what happened? And Barry's age is. They never describe his age. They never say what his age is.
No, they say he's like plump and nondescript and powdered and.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's such a chameleon that you can't pin him down. But the blood magic was done for a reason, and I just don't know what happened at that time.
Do you think they'll do anything about? Do you think they'll address the fact that perhaps because they've talked, like Kinvara talked to him about his parts to the flame, like Varys showed Tyrion that dude he had in a crate. Like they've made reference to Varys's backstory. Do you think how many episodes do we get in season 8?
6.
In the 6 feature-length film episodes of season 8 we get. Do you think they'll like go back? Do you think they'll touch on that at all? Like why Varys was chosen for that? And
I hope so. Even I don't know how they do it. They better work on magic over there.
Though? I mean, I hope so too. But do you think they will?
Well, if they leave things out, there are going to be a lot of people who are going to be ticked off. They better do some magic over there. If they can move people like that from here to there, they better move Varys's. They better do something good.
And also, they're so cheap that they're not going to waste scenes. Why set up the scenes?
I just feel like Varys is someone who we've known from season 1. And we should make him important in season 8.
Yeah.
Like,
if kind of switching the topics, but
please
on Varys, What I mean, this is going to come into play later on, but do you think Varys is at all genuine when it comes to talking to Ned? I mean, at this point, we don't see him talking to him much, but like poor Ned, I mean, his head is like all over the place, thinking who can he trust, who can like. First of all, he's drugged right now, so
I
think
once Ned starts speaking out to Robert, like, you can't. Can I curse, Misha? Misha, yes.
Quickly before she answers.
Okay, like, you can't play in the motherfucking melee because you're the king and no one's gonna hurt you and whatever. I think that's when Varys realizes that Ned isn't just like all the other puppets. Like, he's actually looking out for Robert. And I'm not saying he's looking out for Ned or Robert, but I do think that he views Ned as an honorable person. And like, for instance, I think it's what Varys says about Stannis. There's no one more scary than an honorable person. Like, someone says that about Stannis. But
I think with Robert, I think he's always looked for something dishonorable in Ned to make himself feel better. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like when I was talking about prostitutes, you know, Bessie with her big boobs or something.
Yeah, Bessie.
Kind of like he's overjoyed that he's had Jon Snow.
What was Jon's mom's name again?
That's why he brings it up all the time. Exactly. He knows what to bring up.
Yeah.
But in the books, could you appreciate if upon reread that like Robert and Cersei like really want to get a good look at Jon Snow, because it's not like they're idiots. It's not like they don't know like what time frame Jon Snow, the honorable Ned Stark bastard, came. Like, if Lyanna was raped in a tower and Jon and Ned comes home, like if me as the dummy viewer can piece it together, I feel like Cersei and King Robert were probably suspicious as well. I don't think we necessarily got that in the show at all, but upon
that's
rereading,
a good point.
I do wonder if they're like they hide Jon Snow. Like, that's a point of like Jon is all like bitter and pissy because he gets like put out with like the like foreign squires and whatever, but like they're probably hiding him from the fact that he looks exactly like fucking Lyanna. Like, sorry for cursing.
It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, Robert, you know, was blind. And I'm asking this, am I buffering?
No, you're good.
You sound good.
You're good.
Okay, cool. Yeah, Robert was blind with hatred. Blind to apparently the fact that Lyanna didn't really love him all that much. Yeah, he's just a blind person. He's blind in this chapter. He's blind in the others. He was blind about Lyanna, you know, sticking his head in the sand. And it just felt like, yeah, it might be the best thing to do is to hide Jon. You know, now that I think about it, I think it was like the best thing. I think it was the best thing.
And that's what he says to Mance too. When he has to convince Mance why he's not a traitor, is he's like, because Mance was at that dinner. Mance abled his way into that dinner. He was like, the reason I want to join you is because I was put outside. And so it's like, you know, the best lies are seasoned with a bit of truth. Like, I think he thought about the hate he had for his family and the fact that he had to be fucking put outside with all the outsiders. Anyway. Yeah. I do think that they were protecting him from Robert and Cersei, because Cersei is like, I have a living body and all he cares about is Lyanna, and all Robert can carry on about in his drunken stupor meanness is Lyanna would have been so much better than Cersei. And then meanwhile there's this kid who's like a Stark child of perfect age to be Rhaegar's child running around Winterfell.
The very famous thought that Ned has to himself is, Yeah, you knew the girl. You didn't know the iron underneath. And Robert is in love with an idea. And also
Absolutely.
Robert is somebody who is never satisfied. Like hashtag never satisfied.
Hashtag blessed. Like, just kidding. Sorry. Yeah. No.
You know what I mean? Like
Liana could have been anyone, and if he couldn't have, he absolutely idealizes the person he can't have because she happens to be dead, and therefore he has the right to like have a bastard in all the 7 kingdoms.
Yeah. I have something different. Still on obviously the chapter and on Robert here when he says, because I don't know, we're kind of going almost into 2 hours. So I wanted to get that point before we have to be done for today. Not saying we're going to be done, but I'm just, yeah. So when Robert mentions giving back the pin to, what's his name, to Ned, he says, or I'll pin the damn thing on Jaime, Kingslayer, the King's Hand pin, basically going to the Kingslayer. Anybody else kind of thinks that this may mean something later on in the show and the books, that Jaime may end up as without his hand, but being the hand of the king? Just a thought.
My own thing is that he's going to die. I just think Jaime's going to die. His luck is going to run out. He's been saved twice, one by his sword hand in Dawn. This is the show mainly, but to me, what confirms it to me in the books is the dream he has at Castle Rock. It's the death dream. I put it up in my video a year ago. That when John's dream of Winterfell, when he goes down into the depths of Winterfell, is a death dream. And I think Jaime's dream at Castle Rock is a death dream.
Yeah, like isn't it one of the Kingsguard that wishes him to the 7 hells?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about what you said the other day, and it seems to me like maybe I wonder if we're going to get more of those dreams.
I don't know. I'm kind of, I really do need to as I said, reread the books, because now it depends, because in the books we haven't met the Night King yet, but in the show he's a green seer. So
yeah, that's a whole lot of overlap. Yeah,
like, it's a real different way of looking at things now.
The 13th commander of the Night's Watch was the Night's. I think
fuddled up with the commands.
Yeah, no, but I mean like the one who like laid. He had an other for a wife, and like with spilling his seed in her, he gave her his soul, like in the simian star eyes of the dude who like murdered all the people at the Night Fort or some shit. Like, no, there's a lot of crazy story that we are patiently waiting for, and that's all I have to say. Yeah.
Alrighty, you guys. Mish, what do you think? It's getting close to 10.
Okay. I think we did. Were there any questions in the chat? If there were like maybe we can take maybe 1 or 2 questions in the chat, and then we can end it there for tonight. Was there any questions in the chat? If you have any questions, please post them now. We maybe can get maybe 3 or 4, and then after that we're gonna have to end it because we're moving towards 10.
I was just gonna say, compared to the mood we were all in at when we started, I mean, I'm in a better mood now. So thank you all.
See, Sarah, I'm always in a very good mood. It's just that my day was awful, but I'm so bubbly. I don't know how I do it. But no, ladies, you make my day better. So thank you. And chat too. Why am I saying ladies? Ladies and chat.
Ladies and gentlemen,
we love you all.
We love you all.
Yeah, thank you all for being here.
Moni G, you're not alone here. What are you asking? That? I'm sorry, I'm not following the chat very closely. Alicia,
I can see what she's writing.
I want to skip her question because it's hard to answer.
Yeah, we have a question from Alicia. Hey, Alicia, thank you for joining us here tonight. How different do you think things could have been if Ned lived and was sent to the wall? Well, I mean, I think that it would have made a hell of a lot of difference. I mean, if he
Oh, static.
You're breaking up again.
because the Starks would have no reason, you know, to uprise. Hello, I'm breaking up.
You're good. Yeah,
Hello,
I just
can you
I
hear
just
me?
muted. We can hear you. I muted
I'm
myself
on a
and turned on the
laptop.
camera.
My
Yeah,
mic is different
yeah, you're
from
okay now.
where it
Go ahead.
normally is.
You're okay
Go ahead.
now. Can you
You're
just
okay.
say that again?
Yep.
Yeah. Yes, I feel like Ned living would have made a hell of a lot of difference. Joffrey, it was the stupidest thing that Joffrey did. Killing, was killing Ned. It was the
Even that
stupidest.
dumbass Cersei was like, that was
Was
folly.
saying, yeah, that was a terrible, terrible thing to do. Now the North is completely against us now. I mean, half the continent wouldn't have uprisen, against the Lannisters if Ned had not killed. Maybe the Lannisters would still be the most wealthy in Westeros, but they lost all their money and to pay for the guild. It would have kept the Iron Bank off the Lannisters' back, and the Iron Bank, maybe would have still provided for the people of Westeros, during the wintertime. Now there's no money coming in now. So that's going to make a huge, so Ned living, would have made,
Misha, do you think
it
Rob
would
would have?
have
Do you think
been
Rob would have called his banners if?
a big difference.
And I think it's breaking up again.
It's breaking up a little bit.
Apparently,
I don't think
that's
Ned would
not
have
how
called
the
his
show
banners.
and the story is written. I don't think he would have a good enough reason to. No, Robert's not. I'm still lagging. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if I'm lagging. I'm on the.
We missed a great part of it, Misha. Whatever you were just saying for the last, I think, a minute plus, we kind of missed a lot of it.
Okay, I'm sorry. Maybe I'll everyone's making jokes about me lagging. I'm just gonna say yes. It was a big difference. It would have made a world of difference.
Okay.
So what you're saying is absolutely it would have made a world of difference if Ned had just been sent to the wall.
Yeah, I don't think Ned would have called. I mean, I don't think Rob would have called the banners if his dad's head hadn't gotten chopped off.
Like technically, nothing.
I'll type it out what I said in the chat.
Yep. So technically, if yeah, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
Yeah, we're gonna. You said you're gonna type it in the chat. For some reason, there's a lot of
lag. The bouncing around and stuff.
That lag is.
So yeah. What about you, Sarah? What are your thoughts about that? And of course, Marie and Jen. I'm just seeing Sarah right now, looking at me in that blue. So I'm like going to Sarah right now. There you go.
I don't think Rob would have called his banners if his dad's head wasn't chopped off. So I think a lot would be different. I think that a lot of the same politics probably would have been played out, but chopping off Ned's head was declaring war on the North. That's how I feel. Next person.
Marie or Jen? Marie, I see.
I'll go next. I would love it if Ned would say, "Stop at the Eyrie." He goes up there, slaps Catelyn, and says, "What the hell were you thinking, woman kidnapping Tyrion?"
No slapping women, but okay.
And then go down. Catelyn deserves it this time. And then go down all that down the Eyrie back and go up to the wall. That would have changed everything.
You're gonna want to
She needs some sense slapped into her. She kidnapped Tyrion. What the heck?
Who's that woman who got sent to the
Rain and the Tarbecks.
That's a good point. That's a good point, Sarah. Were there any women sent to the wall? Ooh.
Well, there's that one woman who
one woman, Danny Flint.
Something Flint.
Danny Flint.
Danny Flint wasn't a dude, and they raped the shit out of her.
That's what I'm saying. I wonder what they do to women if they misbehave over there. Guys can
that's
go.
That's why
and...
John is so goddamn progressive, because he teaches those spear wives and those Molestown prostitutes how to shoot a crossbow. Signing off.
That's a good point. Jen, what are your thoughts? What about if Ned were just sent to the wall?
My thoughts are what Misha was saying. Basically, was that I think it would have made a world of difference. It would have changed so many things, as would Tywin not being killed, as would in the books Oberyn not being killed. Like any death can really, because every action has a reaction. But the simple fact of the matter is that's not the story. That's not the way it was written, as Misha said.
Yes. And I apologize if I'm cutting out again. I just typed the comments, talking about the Lannister debt. They lost all their money because of the War of the Five Kings. The Iron Bank stopped providing money to Westeros. And they've stopped providing money for Westeros during the wintertime. And the Faith of the Seven. The Faith of the Seven were angry with Cersei because Ned was killed on the steps of their church. So there was so many ramifications that popped up just because of Ned's death. So much of that has happened. The change in Sansa. That was a ramification. Arya's anger growing more and more and more because of Ned's death. So, I mean, there were so many ramifications. I've only listed a few of them. And Alicia, it would have made a world of difference had Ned had lived. So that's pretty much my answer there.
And that's pretty much what Varys and Cersei were counting on.
Mm-hmm.
Joffrey pulling that bullshit stunt was a surprise to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where chaos comes in, and that's where some people thrive.
Mm-hmm.
It's a ladder.
Yeah, and I'm enjoying all that stuff because I'm on the other side of that. True, we all love it. I mean, how boring it would be. Yay to the wall, to John. Yay, hey, this happened, that happened.
Hey, guess what? They'd have that conversation. Next time we'll talk about your mother. They'd actually be able to have that conversation.
And we get the same words, basically.
Yeah, but we wouldn't have that reveal on the boat.
We get the same words from regard to Jaime Lannister, basically. When I get back, we'll have a really important conversation. And that's why I was saying earlier, like, maybe in Planetos, don't put off for tomorrow what you can say today.
Wow.
And he would have found out about the White Walkers and realised he chopped that boy's head off for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, no, that's... I would love for Ned to know that every deserter of the Night's Watch who came home crying about White Walkers
were telling the truth.
Yeah, no, there's a I can't remember what deep hole of the internet I fell into, but it was basically of all the artists that contribute to Game of Thrones, and there's these paper artists that can do, I don't want to call it origami because I don't know that it was origami, but it was origami, but it was just the White Walkers armor, there's these paper artists that were not very stereotypical fantasy fiction fans, and they were yo, the the first episode starts with him chopping someone's head off, and it ends with him getting his head chopped off. It's brilliant. And it's like, Jesus, it really is. Like, the first season of Game of Thrones, yeah. It was really good.
In the chat, Eduardo Blanco says, killing Ned was the spark that ignites all the fires. And I think that's basically what Misha was trying to say, and it's a very good point.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it was. I mean, the mess in the Riverlands, all that death and all of that destruction in the Riverlands alone, not to mention all of the other aspects that were mentioned. Arya, the bank, the Lannister debt, the faith. So much popped up just because Ned was killed. And it's just amazing how one man could have changed, so much.
He's a solid dude. He had lunch, he had dinner with his people, he listened to his people.
I mean, I know that Cersei regrets it. I know Cersei regrets that death. I mean, if it's anyone who truly regrets what happened, it was Cersei Lannister, because she's gonna bear, a lot of responsibility, later on. I mean, you said it best, Sarah. Even that bitch Cersei Lannister knew not to, not to kill him.
You don't kill the Warden of the North.
Yeah, you don't kill Ned Stark and expect to get away with it. I mean, even someone as angry and as silly and as vicious as she was knew that killing Ned was a terrible mistake. And it was. It certainly was. It's a very good question, Alicia. Thank you so much for joining us. And for your kind words that you've given me, since the last time I've started to stream. So thank you so much. We have one more time for one more question, and I think we're going to go ahead and end it here because it's starting to get late. I see a comment from Cardinal Doomsday. He's saying, don't put till tomorrow what you can say today. Has to be someone's house words, don't you think? And I don't think any house has had such wise and wonderful words as that. Seriously.
They don't seem to be so like self-reflective and insightful. They're like,
no,
we do not sow. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we get hear me roar and as high as honor. We get
these like abstract, like,
yeah. The best motto is "The winter is coming" from the Starks.
It's a threat. It's a warning.
Yeah, it's a warning.
A fact
that hard times are coming, and that's pretty much what he meant by that. That's what winter is coming means. They're not talking about the snow. They're talking about the hard, cruel times. And
the long night.
Yeah, the long night where things are going to get bad and you're going to have to buckle down and do the best that you can to survive. Because it's going to get bad. Things are going to get bad, and it's going to get bad for all of us. Even in our lives, things are going to get rough. Things are going to take a turn. And we're just going to have to do the best we can to adapt and to survive what's coming, the bad things that are coming later on in life. Ladies of the panel, do you have any, last comments, anything you want to say before I end the stream?
I just want to say thank you to everyone who came and listened, and if you participated in the chat, thank you. And I think next week is going to be Tyrion's trial. Yes. So read up on that. And we will see you next week, lovelies.
Yes, Tyrion is next week. And it's gonna happen right here back on my channel. And we're gonna have a good time, and everything goes well. Thank you so much for everyone in the chat. The chat was full tonight. That's what I like to see. That's what I want to see for our channel and for our book club. So thank you so much for joining us, everyone in the chat. Thank you. LMR, Jennifer, Sarah, do you have any last words?
Wow. Do we have any last words? I love that, the way you said it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here. It's always a blast. Thank you, ladies, for chatting with me. Chat, thank you for being silly with me. It's always so much fun. Yeah, if you want to find me, you know where to find me. Just click on the icon and you can find me there. And we'll chat. So thank you again, Jen and Marie.
I just want to say thank you to y'all and thank you to the chat. And yeah, next week, Tyrion, Johnny Be Crazy is going to be our guest. You guys might know him from some of the Westworld chats, and he was in the chat earlier. And so we have that to look forward to.
Yes, Johnny, so make sure you read up on the chapter, on Tyrion's chapter, because we're going to want to hear your opinion.
Yes. Lots is to be said about Westerosi justice. This is like a prequel to Tyrion's mock trial for killing Joffrey.
Yeah, this has been mostly a ladies panel, and I think it'll be good to hear a man's opinion. I think it'll be good to have a man in the chat for, on the panel for next week.
No pressure, Johnny. No pressure at all, Johnny.
Yeah,
up to that, Johnny.
Oh, Johnny is the greatest. We do streams on Mondays on Westworld, and he keeps me in line with my silliness. And I'm like, Johnny, thank you for organizing it. I can just be myself.
No,
and
I saw him earlier, and he's like, I have a feeling I'm gonna be a little bit outnumbered. I'm like, you'll be fine.
He'll love it. He'll love it. He's just being a silly host. Yeah, Johnny's great. So everybody, you're gonna love him.
And thank you so much to our guest, Marie. She always brings some really
Marie brings the fire.
Yes, she does. Marie brings that fire and blood. And please hit her icon and subscribe to Game of Theories with Marie. She has some really great videos and some great points. And I feel like oftentimes her channel goes a bit overlooked. So...
Thank you, Jinhan. I'd just like to thank Misha. She's done a great job tonight as hosting, and to be invited on this wonderful panel. Thank you all, ladies, very much. I hope I didn't come across as too silly. And just, thank you for shouting at my channel, Jen. I don't really do a lot because Bosco, he's a naughty boy. But he's been very good. Did you hear him today? No, he's been a very good boy. So thank you, ladies, very much. And for all the chat for showing up. Dooms, I can't shout you all out because I'm not very good at multitasking. Chrissy, Alicia, was wonderful to see you, hun. Cammy, Nick, PK, thank you all for tuning out. It's been wonderful. Thank you very much. Take care, everyone.
Okay. Thank you so much, Marie. I appreciate it. And thank you to all of the wonderful ladies of the chat, and to all of our ladies of the panel and the gentlemen in the chat as well. Thank you so much for showing up. And I got a wonderful comment from Eduardo saying, thank you for yet another great stream. This is Thursday night's book club is my healthiest habit. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Eduardo. And feel free to stop by next week. We'll be here next week on my channel, and we'll be doing Tyrion. This is his trial. This is his trial in the Vale of Aaron. So read up on your chapters, and everyone in the chat and everyone on the panel, and Johnny will be looking forward to hearing your side of the story.
And a quick shout out to Cami, if I could, because she's the one who I'm gonna thank her because she's the one who introduced me to you all lovely people. So quick shout out to Cameo.
Yes, thank you so much. Yes, that's true. Cammy, she's become our link poster. So thank you so much for posting the links. You are a moderator now, as you deserve to be. And thank you so much one more time for posting our links. Getting us out there.
She's link bringer.
Yeah, she's the link bringer. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. And have a wonderful, wonderful night.